Hello and welcome back to War or Nothing, the number one podcast for amateur and professional boxing across the UK and beyond. What a week of boxing we've had, some highs, some lows, and I'm joined today by my co-host as usual, Mr. Brandon Anthony State.
Hello people, hello Luke.
Hello. We have so much to get into today.
So much.
And it's hard to pick a place to start, but where else, I suppose, other than the big main event of Makhmudov versus Dave Allen in Sheffield.
Yep.
We did a play-by-play kind of recording of this. An incredible night for the sport.
Yep.
Some really, really talented boxers on show. We saw some incredible prelim fights. We'll get into all of those. But first, let's get to reviewing the main event. Now, I'll give my 2 pence here.
Yep.
Very, very frustrating watch.
Okay.
Knowing Dave Allen.
Yep.
And knowing how he boxes. But also knowing Dave Allen and knowing the camp that he's just had.
Yep.
He's, there's been talks of he's in career best shape. He's done everything right. The man even left 2 sausages on the plate in that Matchroom
Day in the life,
which is unheard of for Dave Allen. But yeah, he ticked all the boxes this camp.
He did.
He did it right with Nigel Travis, Jamie Moore, and the help of stablemate Connor Walker and everybody else in the gym. So really, every stone turned.
Yeah, you can say that.
Or no stone unturned, rather.
No stone
I suppose
unturned,
is the saying, isn't it? So really, the thoughts around this one is that he went into the fight, and because of the shape he's in, because of the camp he's had, were we going to see a different Dave Allen? Different in the sense of he's not going to walk forward and just walk into shots. He's not going to be lazy. He's going to have perhaps a better, gas tank than he's ever had before. But in actuality, it was exactly the same Dave Allen that we've seen time and time again.
Yeah, I think we all got caught up on that kind of underdog Rocky story of, it's just a normal geezer, a big fat geezer, somehow pulling off this unbelievable task of beating the up-and-comer who's, supposed to go on to do unbelievable things. And then all of a sudden he gets another big fight, and can he do it? I think I saw an Instagram post, I can't remember who it was by now, but he summed it up pretty well, whereas everyone just got so deluded on the Dave Allen kind of hype train off the Fisher 2 fight, where it's like, oh yeah, he could take everyone, but probably not Usyk. And it's like, realistically, we've seen this before countless times now with Dave Allen, Fraser Clark, Dillian White, Louis Ortiz, so many people. We all should have gone, yeah, Makhmudov will probably win on points. But no one said that. I think if they did, they weren't loud enough. But it's like, oh man, it's that underdog kind of story, isn't it? The guy from next door who can climb the top of the mountain. And I think that's what made people fall in love with it. And I think that's where we were all blinded by it.
For me, I think you're absolutely right. And it was hard not to get involved in the Dave Allen hype train following that, emphatic victory against Johnny Fisher, rendered him unconscious, absolutely smashed him. Let's be real here. And it was hard not to get sucked into that, oh yes, Dave Allen versus the world type hype. You want him to win, you want him to do well, because he is the likeable, lovable rogue. He is like the guy next door or somebody you'd see down the pub, That is Dave's charm. He is your everyman, So it was hard not to get kind of too swept away. But yeah, not forgetting the size and the stature of Makhmudov. And I think I said to you in the play-by-play that we did, when they were facing off in the middle of the ring, ready to go ahead of round 1, it was very much a David and Goliath scenario, which is hilarious because both men are huge.
Yeah, they're both massive.
I think both are above 6 foot. But still, there was that kind of David and Goliath aspect to this.
Yeah.
And could, you made a comment early on as well, is David Allen walking through the shots? Is he attempting to do this chopping down a tree style of,
slowly
fight?
Chopping down the tree and hoping that it tips before your axe breaks? And it's one of those. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, spoiler alert, Dave Allen lost the fight. which I think he wasn't actually too disheartened by at the end. You could see him. Yeah, you could see him visibly saying he's won.
Yeah,
and he was so quick to give Makhmudov his flowers. And we've just got it on the screen here, watching back the highlights. So let's talk kind of tactics. Dave Allen walked through a hell of a lot of shots.
Yep.
And actually, he's since said that Makhmudov was the hardest puncher he's ever been in with.
Yep.
Which kind of he's been in with some big hitters before.
Punches, yeah.
But yeah, Makhmudov was having a lot of success with the 1-2 straight down the pipe,
and that straight shots.
I think that was a combination. Those were the shots where you could really see the power, landing on Allen's chin and kind of. I believe I made a comment early on as well saying I don't know how much he can take this and keep absorbing those shots, because they were big shots.
Oh, massive.
When they landed.
Massive. I remember, I think it was round 3 or 4, Makhmudov threw in like a little sneaky left hook just as Dave was throwing something. Like, it was a nice counter, to be honest, from Makhmudov, and it lands wonderfully. And then all of a sudden you just saw the demeanour of Dave Allen change, and all of a sudden he's gone from being on the front foot, being aggressive, to sitting back on the ropes with his massively high guard there, like he did have all night, just right in front of his face. And like, you could tell, okay, yeah, maybe he got hurt from that one. And I think he has come out and said, hasn't he? He said he was hurt a couple of times in the fight. And I reckon one of those times is that, because that left hook, like, you literally saw like everything kind of go, ooh, no, I'm going to back up now. I ain't standing there with him anymore.
Yeah, there were times where Dave was hurt. There were times where Dave has said that he believes he had Makhmudov hurt, and I believe so too.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, round 1, we just watched this back because it's been not a point of contention, but it's been talked about. Dave hits him with this. We just watched it back. It was like a left hook, wasn't it? Left hook upstairs, and then he follows it up with a kind of like a body shot. But
it was like a right hook to the body. Wasn't it?
Hits him on the hip almost.
Yeah.
And then Makhmudov takes a step, but it's kind of off balance.
Stumbles a bit.
And the question being, was it the shot that did that? Was it a delayed response to the left hook? Potentially, I think. Yep. Should he have gone for broke? No, I don't think so. Way too early in the fight. Yeah. And, the last thing Dave Allen wants is to go into the second round of that fight.
Already gassed out.
Absolutely spent, But yeah, as the fight went on, Dave did his usual Dave thing, walked him down. At times it looked like he had Makhmudov up against the ropes, backed him up a little bit. And then we saw, in round 9, Allen lands the overhand right, that famous diagonal overhand right.
Yep.
And then he starts going for broke.
Yeah.
Uppercuts, body shots.
Everything.
Basically putting him on the ropes, trying to keep him there and trying to get him gone, essentially.
I think the problem is, I was kind of just saying to you before we started recording this, Dave Allen has one way of fighting, and that's it. There is no plan B, plan C, plan D. It's plan A, and that's it. And I think that helps if you don't know how to box on the back foot. Whereas Makhmudov is shown in the past, against Ajak Kabayel, he really struggled to box on the back foot. But obviously they worked on it this camp from Makhmudov, so you've got to give them credit there, because they've really turned it around quite well to be able to go, you know what, we faced some top-level operators in Ajak Kabayel, and then going into this Dave Allen fight where everyone's like, hey, Dave Allen's just going to push him back and he's not going to be able to react. He's going to react the same way as he did against Ajak Kabayel, and then it'll be exactly the same story. But we saw on Saturday that he can box on the back foot well, and he can defend himself. Earlier on, he defended himself a bit better than he did later on with his hands down by his waist. But he did box quite well on the back foot. And I think we look back now on the Johnny Fisher fights, with the limited experience Johnny Fisher had as an amateur, which I think he had 5 to 10 fights?
I think it wasn't a lot, yeah.
It wasn't a lot. And then obviously going into the pros, all Johnny Fisher knew was to come forward and try and knock out his man. He didn't know how to box on the back foot. And I think we've always seen, if someone can box on the back foot, they can beat Dave Allen. And I think that is the game plan that Makhmudov had and his team had for that fight. And I think that was the problem, is if you went too early and you spent all your gas tank out in round 4, round 5, you still got another 6-7 rounds left where Makhmudov could potentially knock Dave out. So I think there was always a game plan of, we'll see if Makhmudov can make it to those later rounds and still have the same energy, which he didn't. Let's be real, he didn't have the same energy, but he was still able to box comfortably on that back foot. And I think, you've got to give credit where credit's due.
Absolutely, and I think that is important. A lot of the talk has been around Dave Allen didn't do what the world wanted him to do, but let's not take away from Makhmudov.
No.
I said straight away, my God, he looks slow. Yeah, he's slow, he's heavy.
Oh, yeah, he's slow.
And to me, I thought, okay, Dave is going into this fight. I thought, oh yeah, Dave is faster than this. Dave can beat him to the punch essentially if he goes for it. My frustration was Dave. We saw flurries of it in round 9, and then I think a little bit in round 10. Also in the final round there, with Dave going for the knockout. But if he'd have done it a little bit more, I think, and put the pressure on a bit more, that is the argument. But yeah, like I say, take nothing away from Makhmudov. Slower, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the work he did was nice.
Yeah.
Hell of a chin. Let's be real.
Yeah, hell of a chin.
And yeah, after he'd won, I'm going to say this. The British boxing public, for as great as it has been over the years and as great as it can be, I mean, look at the support for Alan when he walked out. He said he was,
he was holding back tears.
Yeah, before he's coming down, and what an experience for him. But as great as they can be, give Makhmudov his flowers.
Yeah, you've got to. But I think at the time it was probably the wrong crowd to say that to. Sheffield, Dave Allen's kind of back garden here at this point. 9,000 people pretty much came out to see him. He's just lost. It's not going to be the best reception, is it?
No, but in the same token, Makhmudov was very respectful.
Oh, yeah, he was.
He was, through broken English, trying to communicate that he was thankful for the crowd. He wanted to win over the British public, and he wanted them to be excited about his next steps. He was talking about a fight with Joshua, which, Matchroom's Frank Smith
has turned down instantly. He's gone, nah.
Yeah.
Nah, bro, you ain't having that.
Essentially. But, it was kind of like, I felt bad for him in a way.
Oh, yeah.
Which is strange to say about a 6 foot something giant, heavyweight. But I did feel sorry for him. I thought, the man's just had a very good 12-round fight. He's delivered value for money for the British public. He wants to win you over. He's not saying, I don't care about you lot. I've got my own fans in my own country. I mean, he's Canadian based, isn't he? Yeah. And but Russian born. But give the man his credit.
Oh yeah, you've got to. I just, like I said to you on the night, actually, I said it's just the wrong crowd. I think if he's made like a video maybe the next day going, look, I really appreciate the fans and all this stuff, I think maybe he would have been more well received. But I think just at the time, you've got to pick and choose when to say that kind of stuff and when to try and draw in a crowd and to rake in fans like that. And I just think maybe that wasn't the best time to do it. But, Days the opportunity to do it. Obviously, that's the right place to do it. But I just think timing-wise, the Dave Allen hype train was very big. There was talks of potential Joshua fight, Wilder fight. Everyone's going, I really want to see that, really want to see that. And all of a sudden, this, 6'7" Russian Canadian monster comes into your own back garden and goes, no.
He is a spanner in the works, isn't he? Yeah. Essentially.
He's basically, he's thrown a coin onto the railroad tracks and he's derailed the train. And obviously a lot of people won't like that because of how attached I think everyone was to Dave Allen and that story. Yeah. It's like we've seen it before, and it's like there's been a lot of people that have come over beating British boxers that we've absolutely adored. And then maybe on the night we've gone, oh yeah, they're not very good. But years later we've gone, actually, they're really good.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lot of them.
Now, before we move on from this one, what next for the White Rhino? Obviously, he's since come out and said, well, a few things he said about the fight. He said he's just not good enough. He's not at that level. He said, and he said that kind of respectfully as well. He's not, he's not trying to look for an out here. He's just said, I just wasn't good enough. Makhmudov is very good. He said Makhmudov is the hardest puncher he's been in the ring with. He has said, I think I read earlier that he's, he could retire or he could do a tour of the UK on small horse shows, 8 to 10 rounders. Because he said he's also rather got to consider his stable of fighters. Yep. 2 of which we saw box on this card. We'll get into that. He's got to consider his family. I'm sure he made a few quid from this fight. So
yeah.
Is he set now? I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't say set. But
I don't know the financials, but that is a lot of damage to take in a fight.
Yeah,
it's a lot on the brain. Where do you go next from that? Do you get a big fight? I mean, you had some opinions on this one, didn't you? So what do you think is next, or what do you think is the right next step for Dave Allen?
I think Johnny Fisher free.
Do you?
No, not a bloody chance. No. I saw an interview the other day. Well, I think it was yesterday, actually, Sunday. He did an interview the next day and he said, look, we're going to sit down with the coaches in about January and discuss what's next. So obviously, he's going to have the rest of the year off now, which is understandable. You've just been in a 12-round war, pretty much, and you deserve the time off. Retirement, I don't think so. I think he loves it too much to where he'll quit just because he lost. Like, he's already lost before. If he was going to quit because he lost, he would have done that after Louis Ortiz, realistically, because facing 2 back-to-back losses, that's when you would have quit. But obviously, he likes it too much, and, the money is a good thing as well. He's built a nice name for himself now, so I think there's definitely still big fights out there for him. And I think one of them is the winner of Jamie TKV versus Fraser Clark. Obviously, we know what happened last time. Fraser Clark, Dave Allen quit in the corner. Fraser Clark wasn't too happy about how that fight went. So I'd like to see that rematch. But then there is the Jamie TKV. If he does win and beat Fraser Clark in a couple of weeks, how does that fight play out? Someone who is very good at kind of the fundamentals. Jamie TKV has a good jab. He can throw really good hooks to the body and to the head. He's very good offensively and defensively, as we saw against, what's his name? David Adelaide.
Yeah.
Obviously controversial knockout at the end there, but still put up a really good fight. And obviously the same with Fraser Clark, went into a 12-round war with Fabio Wardley. Obviously then got sparks out in the rematch in like the first couple of rounds. But I think it is a good fight. I think it's for the British title or the English title. I can't remember. But I think that one is the fight to make next for Dave Allen, is the winner of Jamie TKV versus Fraser Clark.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that... I mean, I think I agree that probably is the most logical next step. Don't know where he goes if he just does small hall shows again. I mean, that really does seem like it'd just be for the love of boxing. But yeah, I mean, the thing about this is, and he didn't mince his words here. He said, look, he spoke with Eddie. Eddie's very straight talking with Dave Allen. Eddie said, if you lose, you probably won't hear from me as much, essentially. And Dave was like, sound, that's fine.
Yep.
So, and I don't know if you saw, they did a live watch along from America.
Yeah.
Charlie Parsons, Eddie,
a
few other
Sonny
people.
Edwards,
yeah. And Jack Cattrall was there as well. And Eddie just looked so disappointed.
Yeah.
So flat for Dave Allen. And so you just wonder if is that the end of the Dave Allen
matchroom relationship.
Yeah.
But he's still got one more fight on his contract. So I think they've got to do something about that.
Yeah.
Whether that's in a boxer fight, obviously Jamie TKV and Fraser Clark are both managed by a boxer. So that could be a good one.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Other than that, you could potentially Wilder. I think Wilder is still on the table for a couple of reasons. I think Wilder now will see that Dave Allen can be beat.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, he's been beaten before, so don't get me wrong. But I think now the hype train has been like, Wilder now will see that the hype train's been derailed. He looks beatable quite easily, in my opinion. And I think Wilder will go, actually, I think I could take him.
Yeah.
I think that's a massive fight, because if Wilder beats Dave Allen, that gives, no offence, I think that gives Wilder a better fan base over here in England.
Yeah.
And not just America, because he's only boxed in America and Saudi Arabia, isn't he, in the kingdom?
Yeah.
So obviously he could come over here and fight. I think that sells out maybe Wembley, to be honest.
You think?
I think that could sell out Wembley. I think Dave Allen is just he's just getting up there now with the big names, isn't he?
I mean, yeah, despite the loss, he's got a loyal fan base.
Yeah,
They
they're
were
still there.
They were singing his name, and they were, shades of when Ricky Hatton used to box.
It didn't sound like there was only 9,000 people there, did it?
No.
It sounded like there was a lot more. So I think maybe the Wilder fight could be there.
I mean, I would watch that as a boxing fan.
I think anyone would, to be honest, because it's like you've got a hard hitter in Deontay Wilder who's knocked out nearly all of his opponents, obviously, except for the ones that he's lost to.
Yeah.
And then you've got Dave Allen, who just can't seem to get knocked out.
But that style would not work against Wilder.
No, but then it's like Wilder's chin has been checked now, and it's like realistic. I think an overhand right from Dave Allen will
be Hoolan's first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that will be a good selling point because it's like everyone just really, let's be real. Anytime we watch a fight, we want to see someone get sparked out.
Well, yeah. Heavyweights, for sure.
Heavyweights, you don't want to go there and watch them do 12 rounds, do you?
No.
You want to see someone get sparked out cold. And I think that fight, everyone will be like, Dave Allen can bang.
Yeah.
Wilder can bang. They both have, like, Dave Allen has an incredible chin.
Yeah.
Wilder, not so much. So who's it going to go
Someone's
first?
going, yeah, someone's going. I mean, I said to you, I didn't think that, the Makhmudov fight would do the 12 rounds.
No.
I really didn't. I thought someone was going to go then.
Yep.
But, as is ever with boxing, it was a completely different story. But yeah, moving on, because I'm conscious we've spent 22 minutes so far talking about David Allen. Let's talk about some of the prelim fights. The undercard was stacked.
Oh, amazing.
We had two of Allen's fighters. Most notably, I think, for me, was the Hayden fight. Joe Hayden had a nice, tall, long style, but learned in the 6 rounds that he basically needs a plan B. He needs to be able to fight on the inside. He's only been boxing for 4 years, which I still find incredible. Trained by Allen in his back garden.
White collar fights as well, hasn't he?
Say again?
He never had an amateur, he just white collar.
White collar fights, yeah.
Sure.
He did have some amateur fights, I believe. I think,
No.
No.
I swear on the broadcast the other night, they said he's only had white collar fights just like Fabio Woodley.
I know that Dave said they struggled to get him amateur fights, so maybe that was it. They just didn't get many, but didn't really go his way early in the bout. He looked annoyed. The opponent clearly came to spoil his style, and his opponent was working on the inside and landing quite a few little niggly shots on the inside, which I thought was kind of frustrating Hayden. But he did get the win.
He did.
Following that, we had another fighter kind of linked with Allen, which was Jamie Moore's fighter, Tudsbury, who got the win. And we laughed about this because Jamie Moore, Nigel Travis, and Conor Walker did not leave that corner
for the first 3 fights.
For the first 3 fights.
Which is insane.
And we were looking at them thinking, God, they've got a long night ahead of them.
Yeah.
They have got a long night. But fair play. 3 wins from 3 undercard fights.
Yeah, 3 prelim fights.
Unfortunately, not the main event, but, that is another story. Elsewhere on the undercard, we had Ibrahim Suleiman, a Spider, who I've met once at Birmingham City Boxing Club. Very nice guy, very calm, very collected when you meet him. Very softly spoken.
Yeah.
But an absolute menace in the ring. Long, sharp.
Yeah, very, very fast hands. I think I said this to you on the night. I think it would have been nice because he was landing every shot he wanted to throw. Every shot he wanted to land, landed.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, when you're landing every single shot, I would have liked to have seen him maybe plant his feet a little bit and really start throwing some venom into his shots and just seeing if he could get the guy out there, because it's like, they did 10 rounds altogether and
8 rounds Spider did.
8 rounds did.
It was the 8 rounds super feather.
Felt like bloody 15 to be honest.
It did, yeah.
But I think that's the problem is when you have that sort of long style where you're long, quick and sharp, I think it works for a certain degree, but overall you will lose some fans from it. And I think obviously that's not his fault, but I think personally if that's me in his corner, I'm gonna say, look, you're toying with this man now. He was toying with him. He showed
he was. Yeah.
I would go, aye, now let's get him out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably on the corner as well on him to go, look, let's push it now. Let's see the gears.
Yeah, go up the gears. Yeah,
because you don't want to all of a sudden have to go up the gears when there's a guy in front of you that can also go up the gears. We knew this guy wasn't going to be a problem.
Yeah.
From round 1, like he was landing his shots, and he was landing them cleanly. So I would have liked to see him go up the gears and really put it on him, instead of kind of showboating a bit.
Someone of a similar ilk is Hamza Uddin. It's similar style, frustrating to his opponent. Flash, but can back it up, I think is very important to mention. So Hamza was 5-0 going into this. His last outing was in June at the BP Pulse Live Arena, which I saw, which saw him face off against the former Spanish champion in, this is the pronunciation here again, but Leandro Jose Blanc, I don't know. But, again, no mug in front of him. And the Warsaw boxer, he'd previously beat Graffioli in Nottingham as well. Interestingly, I'd seen his brother Yusuf box in Nottingham as well, a few months removed from that in the NAC's semi-finals, having success in the same city, which was interesting. But yeah, Uddin, he is a fighter I think is going to really split the fans down the middle.
Yeah.
We've seen, let's start with this. He got the stoppage.
He did.
I believe it was a body shot. I know he dropped him with it.
Yeah, it was a body shot. It was
dropped
the
him 3
lead
times.
left hook to the body, landed it one time, guy got back up, landed it again, and then landed it. It was literally all the same shot.
Yeah.
Same time, third time, the ref stopped it.
Which is good refereeing.
It's good refereeing. Yeah.
Gave him a chance.
Yeah, gave him 2 chances.
And there it is.
Fair.
Uddin was too much to the delight of his corner and Sam Jones, who was absolutely thrilled. His dad also, his corner man as well, which he was thrilled as well. But yeah, I think he's going to be a divisive character in the world of boxing because he is your typical matchroom flashy fighter. He's under Sam Jones. Sam Jones is outspoken at times as well.
Yep.
They like to talk shit. Let's be honest.
They like to be the main character in the room, don't they?
Absolutely. And for me, with Hamza's like fast, sharp, cocky style, it needs to be backed up, but it is. So this is a thing. It's like you see the same style with his brother, right, Yusuf, who boxes the same way, presumably because he's been around his brother, and
of course,
of course there's going to be an influence there. But again, Yusuf backed it up at the NACs, and that's somewhere where not every judge kind of likes to see that style in amateur boxing.
Yep.
But if you're backing it up and you're scoring points and you're evasive and you're keeping away from shots, it's still got to be scored, right?
Yeah, if it works, it works.
You can have an opinion on that style of fighting, but if you're backing it up and you're winning fights, then that speaks for itself. But I think what really riled up fans is the post-fight speech, right? And we've kind of talked about this before, but the post-fight speech, Hamza teed off. Yeah, he went off. It seemed like it was pre-planned. He knew what he was going to say. He wanted to say it, and fair enough. He said his piece, right? Essentially saying, stick that in your TikTok edits. Yeah,
yep.
I'm going to be around, and I'm going to be winning, and I'm on the up and up. Now people have since said, Hamza did great if it wasn't for the speech.
Yeah, speech let him down, all this stuff.
Speech let him down. It should just, be humble. More
there was that
humble.
one that you said to me earlier where it was like, for that speech, I hope he gets flatlined.
Yeah, he's already accruing fans that want to see him. Well, fans. He's already accruing people, should I say, that want to see him lose, that want to see him get knocked out. And we talked about this. It's kind of like the Jake Paul thing, right? Which I'm sure Hamza won't be thrilled that I'm mentioning Jake Paul.
We'll call it the Mayweather effect.
The Mayweather effect.
I think that's better.
That's probably better, you're right. But it's that anti-hero, or rather the villain arc of like, I'm going to make you come and pay to see me box because you want to see me lose.
Yeah.
And I think he's mastered that. And what people don't understand is, look, there's an element of bias here because I've met Hamza.
Yep.
And I understand who he is away from the sport. He's a very nice guy. He's very very thoughtful. He's a good brother. He is, great for the local area. Takes a lot of time. Goes to local boxing clubs still. Helps out. Takes his brother over for sparring. I know to Lions Amateur Boxing Club, and just is a nice guy basically.
Yep.
The cocky, brash person you see in the ring is all to do with understanding the business of boxing.
It's just character.
It's a character.
It's kind of not to sway off the point here. When I was doing the unlicensed scene, and had like a good relationship with like the promoters and stuff that was running these shows. And I always said to them, they said, "Oh, why are you so good at what you do?" And I said, "Well, I understand that it's a character. There has to be a kind of story element to boxing. That's what all the big fights was so successful, was because they had that story of good versus evil, hero versus villain, that kind of arc of, someone's got to be backed and someone has to lose. And if you can get the fans to go, I want that person to lose, they will come and see you every single time."
Yeah.
And that's it. They will pay the pay-per-view. They will pay the £100 to come see you live.
Yeah.
Because all they want to see is to see you lose. And I think that's what people like Hamza is doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Whittaker's doing well. A lot of people are doing well. Is that side of the business where it's like storytelling. And I think that's a very big, important part of boxing. Not just pros. I think amateurs should be doing it too. Where it's like, you want to kind of see that person lose. Obviously, it's a little harder in the amateur game because it's not as televised. Not a lot of people get to see you do it. There's a couple hundred people maybe in the small hall shows where you go. But obviously, it can still be done, especially like online. But yeah, I think he's doing, from like an unbiased point of view, because obviously I've never met him. I'd say he's doing that really well.
That's interesting because, yeah, like you say, you haven't met him, and I've had there is a bias there because I have met him.
Yep.
And I think he's a nice guy, and I understand what he's doing. But I suppose for those at home that haven't met him and don't know what he's like away from the sport, away from the lights and the cameras and the action, and you don't know kind of what sort of character he is, that's all you see. So you just think, oh, he's too big for his boots.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah. And people want people to win, but they want them to win in a certain way.
Yeah.
They want them to be humble, and they want them to, you stay at this level because I like you at this level.
Yeah, yeah.
When in reality, it makes perfect sense. And like I say, Hamza is somebody who understands the business of boxing. I'm sure his team do as well. I mean, we found out he's got his own website, which
yeah, it's crazy.
says it all, right? But
I want my own website.
Yeah, well done for that one. I think it's a smart move, to be honest. But
it is.
He understands how to market himself, and I think he's doing a great job. And he's only going to go up and up, and up and up, and up and up.
Of course.
And get that bag.
Yeah, get it. That's all it is, really, isn't it? It's that part of the business that not a lot of people think about and consider when taking up a sport. It's the same with everything. If you have a job, let's say, you work at Tesco's, right? Let's say just because you're good at stocking the shelves, does that mean, you can't then go on the self-checkouts and help people out there? Doesn't mean you shouldn't get good at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything, like, boxing isn't just about fighting. There's a lot of things under that umbrella, isn't there? And you have to be somewhat good at everything if you really want to make it to the top. And I think he's a good kid. And I think if he keeps going the way he's going, he generally will. We will see him headline events maybe in the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I agree. Elsewhere on the card, we obviously the two kind of final undercard fights were Padley versus Bellotti, which was...
I'm going to say a couple of things and we're going to move over it.
Yeah.
Terrible scorecards. They should all be ashamed, right? They should be put in a room now, yeah, with both fighters and have to explain what the hell they were doing. Stephen Gray, knobhead, yeah, 99 to 92. He gave Josh Padley... Wait, sorry. You see what I'm saying? Like, this just rolls me up. Because man, doesn't matter. That's it. We can't talk about it anymore because I'm generally just going to get angry about it.
Well, no, let's break it down now because you've said your piece. Some shocking scorecards. I mean, for those that watched the fight, you would have seen not as one-sided as the cards made out. But to me, breaking that down, Padley seemed from the off to have trouble keeping Bellotti away. Now, Bellotti... Yeah. It was very clear from the off that he wanted to get on the inside of Padley.
Work the body,
stay on the inside, throw those little shots. And so he came with an aggressive style. He was trying to get in by any which way he could, whether that was, I think he had success throwing the jab and coming in. He rolled under a few shots. He threw the backhand to come in at times, and he had success with that. I mean, sometimes he just dived in.
Yeah, he just lunged in.
Ate a jab and still found his way in. But then, more importantly, when he was on the inside of Padley, this is where I think Padley started to come unstuck, right? Because Bellotti was throwing this short, tiny little annoying right hook, catching Padley on the chin every time with it, right?
He would just spam him. He would throw like 4 or 5, even though they had nothing behind them. They're scoring points.
Scoring shots. And I think that was the beginning of... well, it wasn't the end because, let's be real, Padley won. But it was the beginning of, I'd say, Bellotti having his own way in the fight in that he started to frustrate Padley with those tiny little nicking shots on the inside.
Yep.
And then continuing to pressure Padley. And in the end, towards the later rounds of that fight, 10-round fight, Padley essentially started mimicking the style of Bellotti. So then it turned into a bit of a war, which I think favoured Bellotti.
Oh, yeah.
And is what he wanted from the off. So in a way, if you look at it like that, Bellotti has done the work early in the fight to manoeuvre Padley in a way and draw him into his own fight.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what the fuck those scorecards were. Let's just say. But yeah, for me, kind of, if Padley goes back now and watches it back, I'm sure there's holes in his own game that he'll be able to pick apart. And this is to take nothing away from Padley. Look, he won the fight.
Oh yeah, he won the fight. You can't take it back now. Like he is the winner.
And I think when he came a bit more aggressive later on in the fight, he was, he was landing some nice shots. It actually seemed to even out a bit more because suddenly you've not got one aggressor, dictating the fight, and somebody trying to stay away. Suddenly, then the tables are turning. It's like, well, there's 2 aggressive fighters in there. Who's gonna have the better chin? Who's coming out on top? Who's landing the more impactful, more meaningful shots?
I think as well, kind of like we were saying earlier about the whole chopping down the tree aspect. I think that was kind of maybe a strategy for Josh Padley, was to maybe wait until the later rounds and really get going, because I think we spoke about it on the night. Bellotti looked like he was really coming out in those first 5 rounds. Then all of a sudden, round 6, 7, 8, and 9 and 10, he really slowed down. Which obviously you can then say obviously Josh Padley could have won by that way, but we both I think had it scored for Bellotti winning the first 5 rounds, didn't we?
Yeah.
So he would have had to go and knock down Josh Padley to win. I think I called it a draw. You said Bellotti won, which both fair. But I think that was maybe the strategy, and I think that's why it works so much later on for Josh Padley, was because Bellotti got tired. Now, is that a problem on Bellotti's side? Did he, gun-ho too early? Who knows? But it was a good fight. Overall, it was a good fight.
Interesting at ringside, I think Tony Bellew had Bellotti as winning, and I think Carl Frampton was debating it, but then I think Carl Frampton had it as a draw. I could be wrong there.
Yeah, Carl Frampton had it as a draw going into, after the
throughout, wasn't it? Yeah, I think.
And then Tony Bellew said Bellotti had won. So pretty much the same as me and you, because obviously I was on the side of Carl Frampton saying it's a draw, and you were on the side of Tony Bellew saying that Bellotti's won this.
I think just the cleverness of the inside work, frustrating his man, getting in by hook or by crook, and just making sure he just kept that consistently all the way through the fight. I think for me, made him the rightful winner in that bout. But again, I'm not a judge.
But I did say to you I think you could probably find the clip actually of me saying this as we did it. Some judges don't like to score inside fighting.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to work on the outside as well as on the inside, where obviously I don't think Bellotti did a lot of work on the outside. But, you can't take that away from someone just because that's not how you score a fight. I think it has to be scored equally, the same as inside and outside fighting. And I think that was the problem is, the judges just didn't score the inside fighting as well as they did on the outside.
Yeah, that could have been it, to be fair. Elsewhere on the undercard, the co-main, which was Junaid Bostan versus Fawaz.
Yep.
I think that's how you say it.
Yeah,
but, I mean, right from the off, I'm going to say this. I hadn't seen before the rematch.
Yeah,
I hadn't seen the first fight. I didn't know much about them. I didn't know what had gone down in that first fight, so I was coming into this fresh. I think we can't start any other way than saying what a chin and what heart and what passion for the game that Boston showed.
Oh yeah, incredible.
So round 3 rolls around, and Bostan takes perhaps one of the hardest
shots ever.
It was a right hook to the chin and loaded up. It seemed like watching it back. We've watched it back today. Loaded up, which I'm fairly certain I can say. I mean, I haven't seen what's been said after about this one, but Bostan was pretty much out on his feet.
Yeah, he was.
And he was in survival mode. And thankfully for him, it was in the closing stages of round 3.
It was like the last 10 seconds.
So his legs are gone.
Yeah.
It was like Bambi on ice in the middle of that
Both
ring.
ankles gone.
Yep, gone.
Obliterated.
And he was just, operating on pure muscle memory at that point, evading shots and staying in the game as best as he could. But then, he can't. At the end of round 3, he can't even make it back to his corner.
He was going to the neutral corner.
He was going to the neutral corner, more or less. Grant Smith runs over, grabs him, essentially ushers him back to the corner, and they spend the entirety of that minute
trying to get
in between, waking him up, throwing water on him, just getting him awake, basically. Yeah. No instruction, just wake him up, get him back out there.
Survive.
The following rounds are interesting because he does rally, he does make it come back.
Yeah.
At times he's putting Fawaz against the ropes, and it looks like he might have, Fawaz out there at some stages.
Yeah.
Throwing some heavy shots. I think it was the, hotly anticipated rematch. It was always going to be fireworks.
Yeah.
And I think both men showed tremendous heart and gave the British boxing public a hell of a fight. They called it the fight of the night after the concluding bell. I'd have to agree.
Yeah. 100%.
Even with even with the main event, I'd have to agree there. I think it is the fight of the night.
Potential fight of the year, to be honest.
And it was nice to kind of see, at first, I think Bostan was a little bit reluctant to give any credit where credit was due. Didn't want to share the limelight with Fawaz, who, let's just talk about this for a second, had the most delayed response in realising he'd won the title.
He was like,
what? Comical, that was. And looked like a little kid when he realised he'd won it.
Yeah, he was so happy, wasn't he?
He was. And, I thought it was well earned. It was a hard-earned win. And like I said, gave money's worth to the British boxing public. But what were your thoughts on that one? How did you see it?
I think me and you both, I think we looked at each other, I think it was on the 8th, 9th round, and I said, are you keeping track on the scores here? And you went, no. I went, yeah, I know. I ain't got a fucking clue what's going on, because it was just that much of a war between these two.
Yeah.
That it was literally one of them would start throwing punches, then the other one would start throwing punches, and then all of a sudden one of them was kind of stumbling around. You're thinking, oh god, one of them's going to go any minute. We were both like, one of them's going to go here, one of them's going to go.
Yeah.
And none of them went, and we were ecstatic, really.
I don't think neither of them touched the canvas at any point.
No, neither of them touched the canvas.
Which is
nearly did.
I mean, the shots that were landing is incredible, really, if you think about it. But yeah, I mean, fight of the night. I think both men can go on, carrying on with their careers just fine. It doesn't put a mark on any one of their careers. I think
I'd like to see a trilogy though.
It would be interesting, wouldn't it?
That would be nice.
I don't know if they'd get it.
No, I think you would.
You reckon?
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see. I mean, yeah, lots more to be said on that, but perhaps we'll leave that for another special episode for the paid version of the podcast, which is over on Substack. I'll leave a link in the description below where we go a bit more in depth with some of the things we covered in these episodes. Slight little plug there. Oh yes. Elsewhere in the boxing world, we have, I mean, it seems like there's so much news, but we'll start with the amateur stuff.
Yep.
So last Monday, if you guys remember, I was headed over to Repton in East London. Sorry, that was terrible.
That was really bad.
I'll take that out.
Do it again.
I'll leave it in. But we went to East London and we took the 3.5-hour journey over to Repton. And I was really excited about this one because Repton, as all of you know, is one of the most decorated amateur boxing gyms in the country and arguably the world as well. Famous for all the champions it has produced, and even the Cray twins training there at one point and boxing for them. So yeah, I was excited to get there. And some top talent on display. We had some of our lads from Mikey's Boxing Gym in Kidderminster sparring with...
Best gym in the world, by the way.
Yes. Best gym in the world.
Yep.
Sparring with some of the Repton lads, Charlie Brown, extremely talented and again highly decorated amateur boxer. We had Dylan Gibson came over from Islington. But yeah, off the back of that, I caught up with one of our coaches to talk about travelling for the best sparring and how important that is. Jim, you're a well-established coach here at Mikey's Boxing Gym. The start of this week, rather, we went down to London to go and spar at the world-famous, I'd say, Repton Boxing Club. First and foremost, what was it like visiting that club?
I thought the gym was spectacular. To be honest, obviously, it's got a lot of heritage behind it. It's also got a lot of funding, which helps a lot. To be fair, very hot in there, as we all know. The coaches down there seem to have it dialed in really, really well. One of the things I picked up on mainly from the gym was what I addressed with the guys earlier on. When the kids or adults go in there, they're ready. They're not being told, being shouted at to do this, do that. They know what they've got to do. So obviously it just goes to show that they've fine-tuned the craft. And all the participants in there are all taking that on board. The gym is a brilliant gym. Obviously, we've all heard of the craze and that. That's probably what that gym's most famous for. But obviously they've brought out some really good amateurs, pros, and... Well, what I was on about earlier, it's like in America that would be Cronk Gym, but in England it's Repton as such. Fantastic gym, love the guys down there, had a brilliant time, and I also picked up a lot of knowledge myself from watching the guys spar there and how the coaches interact as well. So it's a very good learning curve for me, and the guys we took down there. Very good learning curve for them, and I've took a lot away from there. Really, a lot.
You just mentioned there, obviously, the caliber of people that have come through those doors at Repton and then gone on to either become pro or be very, very accomplished amateurs. There seems also, like you mentioned, that zero tolerance kind of approach, and it doesn't have to be done in an aggressive kind of horrible way. As we discussed tonight, do you think that's essential to become a gym of that merit?
Sometimes you've got to speak the language of the people, and some people only understand things in certain ways. So it's quite hard to get right, because obviously sometimes you can't be a snowflake about it. You've just got to tell them, look, that was crap. That's not what I expect. Some people, you haven't got to be like that with them. Some people just get it. Like I said, you've got to be able to speak the language of the people. Some people only learn one way, or you tell them off politely. Some people you don't need to tell off at all. So yeah, that's what I would get from that. To be fair, it's more like a chalk and cheese approach.
Adaptability, maybe.
Yeah, adaptability. Like I said, some people just get it, and some people you don't need to tell to put the wraps on or get ready. They're ready, and some people you have to give them a bit of a kick up the bum.
Going into another gym is always, I suppose, a trickier thing to go through with your fighter. Obviously, your fighters well, but how do you approach that kind of coaching for a sparring session at an away gym?
Ideally, if you've got enough time to do this, you can. Obviously, there's a lot of good guys down there, national champions, international pros, etc. You can do your research if you know who you're going to spar when you go down there. I kind of like to feel it from round one, because everybody has a game plan and they don't always work out. So I like to feel it from round one, and then I try not to shout anything over while they're in the ring doing their first round as such. And then I'll address the situation when we get back if we need to change something, or if I think we need to do this more or put more pressure on. So yeah, it's a kind of, you kind of feel it as you go. we've done game plans and they haven't worked, and we've gone where we just feel it and it's worked. And obviously, ask the guy in the corner, what the guy in the ring as such, what he thinks as well. So that's my approach to it.
How important do you think it is to travel to the likes of, the Reptons, West Hams? I mean, I know there's a London base, but they don't have to be London based. The top gyms, how important do you think it is to source out the top sparring for boxers if they want to make a real go of amateur boxing?
Well, there's the same by me. Iron sharpens iron, and it does. It's fundamental in boxing. If you've got a good squad around you, what need the top guys, you've got to travel. It's fundamental. And whether you go down there, I know they say that you can't lose a spar. You know how you've done in a spar, with all of that feeling where we've walked out the gym and thought, God, I should have done this. A spar's like an argument. You always know what to do after it's ended. It's really, really important to travel, obviously, and spar the top guys, and just to see. It's kind of a gauge to see where you are as a person, as a gym, and as a coach. So it's fundamental that you do these things. If you've got guys which are on the way up or they're getting there, you've got to take them to the top gyms and get the best out of them. That's adamant. You've got to do that. If you don't, you'll just stay stagnant. You've got to do that. So when we do go to these top gyms, it's brilliant, and it's just like I said, it's nice to see where we're at, what we can improve on. I've took a lot back from Repton, which I didn't see before. But obviously, when you're up against a skilled operator, they show the openings, and it's quite hard to see the openings unless you're up against somebody who's up there. So I took that away from the top sparring as well. It's not just about what the kids take away as well. Obviously, it's more about those, but sometimes it's nice to watch and see what's going on, and if you can improve yourself as a coach as well. Taking away key information from those spars, so that type of thing. Yeah. Finally, I just want to ask you, we talked there briefly about the heat of Repton. Yeah. Talk me through that. I mean, it was something else, wasn't it? I've been all over the world, and that is the hottest I've ever been, and I feel sorry for anybody who's ever got a spar there. It's mega hot in there. Just standing in there, you melt. But obviously, if you're cutting weight as such, it's a good idea, and it really, really is. And another key from that, if you can afford to put the heating on like they do and get it that hot in there, it's a massive advantage, especially if you're not used to that type of weather in there.
I think that's probably where most of the sponsorship money goes, isn't it? Right, the heating.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
If you can spar in that heat as well, it's probably sees you well, because you're probably never going to fight in that type of heat unless you're fighting abroad or in Barbados or somewhere like that, right?
You're not, basically. It's basically Cuba, but in London. It's ridiculously hot, but it works. It worked.
Jim, thank you so much.
You're welcome, mate. Thank you.
So yeah, it was great to catch up with Jim, top coach for Mikey's Boxing Gym, and of course, Jimmy, his son, is a very talented boxer as well. And we got to see some very, very good sparring between himself and Charlie Brown. But yeah, elsewhere in the boxing world, let's talk another amateur, which is Corey Jones, well-known Welsh boxer, boxed for the Wales team.
He did indeed.
And what's happening now?
News coming out, Corey Jones himself put up on TikTok, this is where I first heard about this, that he is now turning over to the professional ranks. I don't think he's been signed by anyone. I might be wrong as of now. But as of recording this, the information that I know is that he's just turning over pro. He had an outstanding amateur career with Team Wales. And I think me and you can both say we're both looking forward to seeing where he goes in the professional ranks.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I'd seen him box at the Three Nations, but I don't think I did in the end. But he's a 5 times national champion.
Yep.
So
well decorated.
Yeah, international boxer for Wales. So he's done a lot. And let's just take a look at this post here. Corey Jones says, after lots of thought, I've decided to leave the Welsh boxing team and move on to the next chapter of my career. Finishing with so many great accomplishments, experiences, and boxing the best of the best all around the world. I feel now is the perfect time to take this step. I do believe this style of boxing will suit me massively, and it's time to prove this and show my talent. So, very best of luck to Corey Jones going professional. Will be interesting to follow the progression of his professional career. And,
From us over here at the War or Nothing podcast, we wish you all the best on your professional career.
And if you ever want to come on, Corey, you just
hop on.
Give us a shout.
No problem there.
So, moving on to more kind of professional news this time. Benavidez has said he will fight for the next 15 years and move up to cruiserweight and then potentially heavyweight.
Yep. I think this was an interview that he did with Ariel Helwani. I think he covered it. He stated that he's going to continue boxing for the next 15 years. Obviously, he's moved up to light heavyweight recently. He's the WBC light heavyweight champion, obviously with Bivol being stripped. He has his upcoming fight with Anthony Yard, I think November the 15th, I want to say. I'm definitely wrong on that. But he is fighting soon, and he has had talks of, going up to cruiserweight and even potentially heavyweight in years to come. Do I think that's possible? Cruiserweight, yes. Heavyweight, not a chance. He's like 6'2". Obviously, for heavyweights, you'd expect him to be a bit bigger. But will he be able to move the same weight around healthily as he does now? Who knows? I think there's a lot of good fights at light heavyweight first before he moves up to cruiserweight. But he has stated that he's going to spend the next 15 years in boxing. So, a lot of good fights to look forward to there.
What does that put him at 15 years from now, age-wise?
45, I'm pretty sure.
45, okay.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, interesting.
Because that'd be like George Foreman age, wouldn't it? When he...
I mean, I don't know how... I look at people like this. It's kind of a beacon of hope, right? Because I'm 32 and boxing,
Man, you're pushing 40s.
I know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my knees hurt now, so I dread to think. But yeah, some other massive news which has come out since last week is Ben Whittaker signs with Matchroom.
Yep.
Now, looking back, I'm not going to say I called it or I told you so because I had no idea this was coming. However, looking back and seeing the amount of times that I've witnessed Ben Whittaker at Matchroom events and, chilling with Eddie Hearn on the front row and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's kind of obvious to see now that this heading this way. Ben leaves Boxer to sign with Matchroom, and what does this mean for Whittaker moving forward? Many have speculated. He's actually supposed to sign with Matchroom in 2022 in April, and I can't remember who told us this, but he did a promo shoot in Manchester that never saw the light of day. I don't know the ins and outs of why that fell through. I'm guessing money or something, but interesting move for Whittaker.
Yep, very interesting. I think we all kind of saw it coming eventually. There hasn't. I'm not going to say there's been the best relationship between Boxer and Ben Whittaker, because I remember, I think maybe last year, Ben Whittaker came out on Twitter and said like all the commentary was like very hateful towards him and kind of having digs at Sky Sports and Boxer for that. Obviously, they came out kind of sorted that issue out, but I could always see that there was that kind of bit of bad blood between them. I think as well for Ben Whittaker, I think it's being active as well. I think he wants to be active. He wants to, grab these titles. And I think the problem with Boxer and Ben Shalom, you just don't see his top stars being that active. They're not out there. They're not really published a lot. Obviously, I think Ben Whittaker is well known because of his social media presence, and I think that's why he's kind of got to the level he's at now, is because of that. And I wouldn't say that's because of Boxer, unfortunately.
Just the way he is. Yeah. I mean, I can't remember who made the comment, but they said he is very much a Matchroom fighter, the way he acts. And,
the kind of showy, offy, kind of brass kind of way he lives his life. I think that's very kind of Eddie Hearn Matchroom-esque, and I think those two will gel together. Yeah.
Well, speaking of Eddie Hearn, Eddie has been on the Ariel Helwani show saying that Whittaker is apparently due a fight in late November, so that's only next month, and he envisions the fight will have 3 or 4 bouts before going world level. So the question is, does that first fight in November happen in Birmingham? Should it happen in Birmingham?
I think maybe I think it might happen. In Birmingham, I think maybe a London card, maybe. Because if I had to speculate, I'd say Johnny Fisher's also on that undercard because he's in fight camp now. So there's that. There's that news there. I think depending on when, because obviously we've got to remember there is the Eubank Ben 2 in November. So obviously you don't want it too close to there, and obviously you wouldn't want it in London as well around the same time. So maybe I could see a Brum card happening for Ben Whittaker.
I mean, we are fast approaching November, so it begs the question who that's going to be against and where and how. But yeah, be interesting to see that one. Plenty more going on in the boxing world, but I think we are fast approaching an hour on this episode, so we will wrap up and just say thanks as always for joining us through all this incredible boxing news and the incredible week we've had in boxing. This has kind of felt like a bit of a fight night special.
Yep.
And I'm sure many of those stories will develop over the coming week. We can't wait to come back to you next week with more news, more updates, and probably a bit more about the Dave Allen fight, because we would have thought about something else, or there would have been a development. Dave would have retired 6 times, or who knows. But yeah, thanks as always for joining us, and we shall catch you in the next one.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to rate us and follow us for any updates and stuff like that.